Welcome to the Ball Brad Show. It is Tuesday, June 11th, and Joe Biden. Good old Joey. The geriatric, the puppet, the child sniffer, the guy that hits a golf ball backwards, falls up a flight of stairs, looks for dead people in the crowd, converses with dead people, takes photos with individuals at events that were never there in the first place. Let me know in the live chat. I'm there with you right now. We are live, folks. Have you ever seen anything like it? Have you ever seen a guy trip over a sandbag at a graduation ceremony and can't get himself back up? Have you ever seen a guy that was in the Senate majority of his life, and then he was vice president, and then he was president, but still not know how to get to the Oval Office? This guy fights with a teleprompter every single day, and we have more footage, brand new footage of Joe Biden duking it out for round like 5,000 with this teleprompter, and the damn thing is never lost. I will keep saying this until the end of this year when Joe Biden has hopefully voted his ass out of office, because the teleprompter is undefeated. The teleprompter wears a belt. The thing is massive, just kicking Joey's ass every day. Patriots, Joe Biden is by far, not even close, the worst president in American history. Patriots, it's great being back with you on this fine Tuesday morning, and boy oh boy are we live again. Your boy didn't go to bed early enough. This coffee is so freaking strong. I'm telling you, it's like mud. If you haven't gotten your coffee yet, folks, we're gonna be here for a while, so strap in, double, triple, quadruple, strap in like Anthony Fauci asked you to double and triple mask. Well, we got some news for y'all today. The big question and rumor out there is Joey's going to be dropping out very soon. We will see based on these new polling numbers that are coming out. There is some big time speculation, and a lot of conservatives and Republicans are throwing numbers out there, folks, like 50, 60% chance that Joey ain't going to make it to the next election. I'm not saying he's going to drop off and pass away. No, that's not what I'm saying. We'll have to get there. You got to wait. You got to wait, because we got some clips of Joey here. So, Joey felt like he was an activist yesterday hanging out with a bunch of black people. Remember how he always says that? Like, I was an activist for black people and I marched on the streets with Dr. King. No, I said it more literate than he did, but this is the stuff he pushes. So he was giving this speech yesterday, and I'm telling you, the teleprompter hasn't lost. Oh, shit, here we go. Here's him giving his speech, and just try to make out what he's trying to say here.
She knows so long as she was denied, our freedom can never be secured. She knows so long as she was denied, our freedom can never be secured.
But don't worry, he's sharp. You heard it from Cree Jean-Pierre. You heard it from John Kirby. You heard it from that psycho lady we watched yesterday, where he's sharp. He's done more stuff than 5 presidents. Yeah, like take vacation more than 5 presidents. I love this comment. It's the number one. It's right at the top. It's from Mays. Truer words have never been slurred. Somebody asked, when is Joe Biden getting an interpreter? This is good stuff. It is good stuff. Oh, it's not. Oh, no, we're not done. He goes on and he's rambling, drooling into a drip tray about our founding ideals as a country. And he said, since the founding of our ideals, that we don't know fully what America's soil is. Here we go.
Black soldiers were a link in a distinguished line of patriots, enslaved and free, who risked their lives in every war since the founding of our ideals, and we don't know fully what American soil is. Equality and freedom. These black soldiers...
Jesus, dude, this guy. But don't worry, everything's fine. Nothing to worry about. Somebody said, coming from who doesn't know what day it is, let alone what soil America has. And somebody put a wind-up toy behind Joe Biden's head. This is awesome. Oh, God. Democrats are still going to vote for this guy. I see y'all in the live chat. Miriam, Music, Jen, Jerry, Patrick. Folks, you're patriots, but people are going to show up in big numbers to vote for Joe Biden if he's still running again. That is the main theme today. Is Joe Biden going to drop out of office? And somebody confessed to something, which we'll get to. Oh, like I said, buckle up. We're in for the long haul, folks. Tonight on Unsolved Mysteries. That's the best. That's the best. You guys remember that show? Holy crap. Oh, we're not done. No. This is all one speech. We're pulling gap after gap, screw up after screw up here. So he's slurring, and through his slurs, he's smearing us. Joe Biden has the balls to sit there and slur and be mentally incompetent and smear Republicans as, quote, ghosts in new garments trying to take us back as he peddles these disgusting freaking lies.
They're all ghosts in new garments trying to take us back. Well, there are. Taking away your freedoms, making it harder for black people to vote or have your vote counted. Closing doors of opportunity. Attacking the values of diversity, equity, and inclusion. If you can believe it, banning books about black experiences. Trying to erase and rewrite history. They're all ghosts.
You guys, what the hell was that? Did you see that little thing at the end where he's like, Gah! Gah! like somebody punched him? Can we go back here? What the hell was that?
Black experiences.
Did you see it? Let me know in the live chat. Did you see that? Like he reset himself. You know what I mean? Like, what the hell was that?
Books about black experiences. About black experiences. Trying to.
Okay. All right. Well, he's fine, you guys. Again, I'm going to keep saying this and show more videotape of Joey up until the election because, as I mentioned, the media, the White House, Biden's spokespeople are doing this massive media campaign to gaslight everybody and go, the guy's fine. Oh, yeah. Sharper than ever. You should see the guy run a marathon. It's remarkable. No, every morning he gets up and runs a marathon. It's just like, it's unbelievable. Yes, he does need a drug test. You are correct. I hope they push that for this next debate if Joe Biden actually makes it. Well, with all this chaos ensuing with Joe Biden and his mental incompetency and him slurring through his words, you have things going on in Israel and Palestine, right? They're fighting one another. Nothing new there. Well, with that comes protests. And there was all these campus protests that were springing up like wildfire across all these universities that people are paying $100,000, $200,000 to go to, right? For like degrees and such as lesbian dance theory, underwater basket weaving, hell, I don't know, transgender studies, crochet. I'm making stuff up at this point. But what happened was they dismantled all these places, right? They dismantled all these encampments. Well, they're back. They're back as of last night. So Biden's campus, chaos continues. Far left pro-Hamas rioters, this comes from RNC Research, violently took over UCLA's campus again. Like, leave it up to California to keep the charades going. Quote, they violently slapped the phone out of my hand and started yelling and screaming profanities that basically threatened to kill. That doesn't surprise me. Here we go. This one comes from CBS News, Los Angeles.
Not too long ago, this is in front of Dodd Hall, and this is police breaking through protest lines. They were pushing through and trying to break up the gathering inside and around Dodd Hall. You can also see some of the hedges that sort of were used as barriers by the protesters trying to seal off and block that area. The protesters tried unsuccessfully to stop police as they charged in. They confiscated various items that they were using to sort of blockades and barricades from inside the building. It did appear that there were some people who were detained if they did not comply with police officers' orders. Next video we're going to show you. This is from Moore Hall, and you can see the crowd attempting to break into Moore Hall, but
where's the guy from CNN that's out front going, where? I'm going to use his water bottle. We're out here at UCLA, Jennifer, and well, there's a bunch of protesters, but don't worry, they're peaceful. While this footage right here, the guy standing in the middle of the mob getting pushed around, they're peaceful. They're calling for the peace of the Jews in Palestine while they're freaking raiding the buildings, throwing pipe bombs in there, some crap. But don't worry, it's mostly peaceful. You guys remember that clip? Again, we talked about it yesterday where the dude's out there when Black Lives Matter's burning down our cities. Going, well, it's mostly peaceful. and the whole place is ablaze behind him. Like there's like 20 buildings. The whole city's up in flames. So, this is insane. This is wild. And we're told, it's fine. They just want peace. Peace in the Middle East, guys.
Guards inside were able to fend off the protesters and lock the doors and prevent the protesters from entering the building. So a pretty chaotic scene there as well. All of this, though, starting where the original encampment many weeks ago, well, where that started, right out in front of Royce Hall. And there were protesters that were setting up some tents there. They were holding that sort of barricaded that off until police came in and broke that up. There were some sort of fake corpses that they left out as a symbol of what they say is the humanitarian crisis playing out in Gaza. And also they put some red dye and red paint into the little pond and on the stairs in front of Royce Hall. We did speak with some people. We tried to speak to the protesters inside the encampment, inside some of the protest areas. They would not talk to us, but I did speak with a rabbi with the UCLA Student Center.
Of course the protesters didn't talk to you. They don't know what the hell they're doing there. These are the same protesters that were begging for humanitarian aid for themselves. You might be, well, hold on, Brad. I'm new to the channel. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. I'm a new subscriber. Welcome. We got a lot of new subscribers. We got a video that's actually popping off. It's a video about us hanging out with those fantastic people in Seal Beach, Frank and Jen. If you haven't checked out that video, check it out. There is a patriotic store in Seal Beach, California that is going viral right now. And we were lucky enough and fortunate enough to meet them and do some signed copies of our book, Trojan Horse How the Left Destroyed America. Well, there's these people on college campuses last time that were barricading themselves. We all knew that because it was mainstream. It was going all over the news. These people were asking for food and water. And if they didn't get it, then they were being defied their humanitarian right to receive humanitarian aid. All the while, there's people in Palestine, they're going through a famine right now because Israel's dropping bombs all over them. These people are idiots. So it doesn't surprise me he didn't get an interview.
Here and a faculty member supporting the students.
I was just here observing the protest and trying to make sure that our Jewish students are safe and sound and supported. And I was also just filming the protest, basically, when someone just kind of approached from the side and violently slapped the phone out of my hand and started yelling and screaming profanities and basically threatened to kill. I work directly with students, and many of them are nearly traumatized. Can't wait for the year to be over.
You guys, these people are not with us. They want to destroy this country from the inside out, and Joe Biden and the Democrat Party is allowing it to happen. And I agree with this. This comes from Red Wave Press right here. Law and order doesn't exist under Joe Biden. No, it doesn't. Crime is happening. They're still burning down and looting businesses all across the United States, specifically in Democrat-ran cities. Joe Biden doesn't want to utilize his executive authority at the southern border, even though he put forth a BS executive action plan that doesn't actually do anything. Isn't this an insurrection? Maybe, Jerry. Maybe it is. The Democrats get away with everything. Democrats get away with absolutely everything. The left have become a bunch of violent thugs. Correct. And nobody's out there, not even the police, doing anything about it. Well, speaking of riots, speaking of insurrection with our boy Jerry in the chat, Nancy Pelosi confessed. Nancy Pelosi, this doddering fool, the geriatric, the lady that's had so much facial surgery, we don't know when she's smiling, says, I take responsibility for nothing, having National Guard at the Capitol on January 6th in video shot by her own daughter. So she's going to taking responsibility for not having. So she actually sit there and confessed that it was her fault. Former House Speaker, we got a video clip of it. Don't worry, folks. I'm gonna take good care of you. If you're joining us and you're loving it, hit that like and subscribe button. Leave us a comment down below on how terrible Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi are. Former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi blamed herself. The realization comes years later for the lack of National Guard troops at the U.S. Capitol on January 6, 2021. Now, here's the thing. It didn't really happen years later. This happened, which is video footage, on January 6, 2021. So here's the video clip of her taking responsibility for January 6th on not having enough protection at the Capitol.
Responsibility, Terry. We did not have any accountability for what was going on there, and we should have. This is ridiculous. You're going to ask me in the middle of the thing when they've already breached the inaugural stuff that should we call the Capitol Police? I mean, the National Guard? Why weren't the National Guard there to begin with?
They thought that they had sufficient
No,
resources.
that is not a question of how they have. They don't know. They clearly didn't know, and I take responsibility for not having them just prepare for more. We have responsibility, Terry.
Huh. Weird. So she's going to take responsibility for not having more. It seems like some things fell through the cracks there, Nancy. So for the 30th time, the speaker supposedly of the House has no jurisdiction over the National Guard. That doesn't mean anything. You know, you always get these lefties rolling in, these Democrats that think that they know things, you know what I mean? And they just spew stuff out there. It looks like Trump was right again. Not that anyone should be surprised. Why is she not arrested? This is criminal activity. Nancy Pelosi is the most corrupt politician in U.S. history. There might be some truth to that. It was a complete setup from day one. There is rumors out there that it was a setup. There's rumors that the CIA were involved. There's rumors out there. I got to be careful. We are on YouTube, folks. Whoa, we got over 100. We had over 100 concurrent viewers. Welcome, folks. We are live. Join us. We are a patriotic movement, baby. There was rumors that there was, and we covered it, that there was over a couple hundred FBI undercover agents in the crowd that were enabling this, trying to ramp up these rioters to go into the Capitol. We all know Ray Epps and all these people. I think his name was Ray Epps, if I remember correctly. There was other things taking place in the area. And you know what? The whole messed up thing was not the fact that people went inside the Capitol, which you shouldn't have done, but there was a lot of people that were actually peaceful, that were there, that had permits. They took out permits to be there. It wasn't like they weren't allowed to be there. They were. The one part that they weren't allowed to do was go inside the Capitol, but there was a lot of people out there that were just utilizing their Second Amendment right. They weren't vandalizing things outside the Capitol like we saw yesterday with these people that are asking for the genocide of Jews. They're chanting Antifada. They're physically asking. It's not like we're making this up, like, oh, we're reading between the lines now, like we had to do for the first few months of this whole thing with October 7th. Now these protesters are just out there just saying full blown, like, yeah, we want the death of the Jews. We want to see them wiped off the face of the earth. Like, they're just physically saying that. Truly remarkable. So they get away with vandalizing all these things. But if you were down there, say 8 blocks away from the Capitol buying a hot dog for your daughter, well, you get locked up. You get locked up because you're wearing a Trump hat because you're there for his speech. It's unbelievable. Unfreaking believable. But you should believe everybody from the White House, you guys. You should believe that Joe Biden's sharp. You should believe that Joe Biden has your best interest. You should believe that Joe Biden knows your kitchen table issues. You should have believed Nancy Pelosi. You should have believed Chuck Schumer. And hell, you should believe Karine Jean-Pierre because she's on the podium once again giving a speech about risk and crisis communications. She's going to give us a speech about risk and communication. The worst person in terms of communication in United States history. She says here, and we'll show you the clip, the only thing that stands between me and getting our message out to the American public is whether Americans feel like they can trust me. Us, as a community here in the Ball Brad Show, have covered every single White House press briefing virtually. The balls of this lady.
Now, when I address the press from the White House podium, the only thing that stands between me and getting our message out to the American public is whether the people sitting in those chairs and the folks watching at home feel like they can trust me, feel like the information that I am providing is worthy for them, and that they can trust, obviously, that information.
Come on! Isn't that insane? For us that have been here since day one. I have to hear it again. I do. That last little bit is just a remarkable statement.
Feel like they can trust me, feel like the information that I am providing is worthy for them, and that they can trust, obviously, that information. Now, when I...
Yeah, sure. You guys, again, we got a lot of new subscribers. Couldn't be more than happy to have you join us. Even, look, we got a lot of independents that watch the show. Obviously, a lot of conservatives and Republicans. We love this country. Folks, this lady straight up lied to the press and the American public 5 times we counted. It was some of our most popular videos regarding the classified documents. She knew about them. She knew about them for 5 press briefings, and she lied throughout each one. And we did a whole segment, a whole story. We connected the dots for you on how they came in on like July 10th and said, hey, there's classified documents. Did you know about this? And she goes, nope, didn't know about it. Turns out they come back a day later and they go, hey, you told us you didn't know about these classified documents, but we have information here that says that you did. oh, well, I kind of might have, I heard something and the timing doesn't work out. Well, ma'am, is there any more classified documents we should know about? No, I don't know anything about any more classified documents. That evening, more classified documents come out on like July 11th or whatever. And she goes, the next day, another press briefing. Why'd you lie about the classified documents again, that you didn't know that there was more out there? And it just kept happening. But we're supposed to believe this lady. She is so crooked. She is so crooked. She's as crooked as Nancy Pelosi's face was before she got facial surgery. It's remarkable. So people are saying, look at the polls. Nobody trusts you. You're a disgrace. I'd say resign. Now, there was a coup in the White House that we covered to actually remove Karine Jean-Pierre, but they can't because of their DEI initiative. Joe Biden's out there parading around like we saw yesterday with black people because he needs the black vote back. He's pandering to them. And so with that in mind, because she's black, she's a lesbian, she's a DEI hire, she sits there and spews a bunch of garbage. They can't remove her because they have all the boxes checked off. And if they do fire her because she sucks at her job, people are just going to chant racism, that Joe Biden's racist. And then all that information about him actually being racist when he was younger, well, that's all going to come out again. So they can't fire her. Well, God, I wish they would. But she makes content, does she not? She gives us content. I'm going to miss the lady, not for her job, but just the fact that she is creating a lot of stuff for us. So with that being said, we're supposed to believe all these people. Now, with that in mind, the GOP is doing a fabulous job of actually getting the message out there that Nancy Pelosi, again, was the one that took responsibility. Because what you're going to see is Karine Jean-Pierre is going to start doing this movement going, oh, well, you should believe us. Your feelings should be the one that should guide you, not actual logic and reason. And so my expectation is during these White House press briefings, when she's questioned on this, she's going to try to spin it. But the GOP and small outlets like mine and others aren't going to allow that to happen. So you saw that videotape of Nancy Pelosi acknowledging that they have the responsibility. Well, again, she's not going to allow that to happen. You know that there's going to be a movement from the White House to sit there and try to cover up what the hell she did, even though the GOP's, I believe, the one that leaked that videotape. Well, lo and behold, Nancy Pelosi, here she is just yesterday, saying this is revisionist history. It's not real. But yet you just saw the clip of Karine Jean-Pierre saying, oh, you should believe us. You should believe everything we say. And then just yesterday, the same timing, Karine Jean-Pierre's on the podium, believe us, Nancy Pelosi, oh, well, it's just revisionist history.
The fact is that the President of the United States, the former president, and his toadies do not want to face the facts. They're trying to do revisionist history on January 6th. But we cannot let us be dragged into their, again, false impression of what happened that day. They know what happened that day. The fact is that the...
You want to talk about revisionist history? How about Joe Biden? I drove 18-wheelers. No, you didn't, Joe. I sat there and ran the Girl Scouts and sold Thin Mints in the 50s. No, you didn't, Joe. You absolutely did not. I marched on the streets with Dr. King. No, I was an activist for black people and went to a Muslim synagogue when I was 10. No, you didn't, Joe. He just bullshit out of his ass in the same way she does too. Revisionist history. This is the same party, if you recall, that showed us the same 6 minutes of footage out of 40,000 hours for 4 years, or roughly, give or take. This is the same people that covered up January 6th, and they're going to tell us that we're conspiracy theorists. They're going to tell us about revisionist history. These are the same people, the Democrat Party, let's be specific, the Democrat Party that covered up January 6th. It's the same people that lied and were called out in a congressional hearing for saying, hey, we didn't know these 40,000 hours existed. They lied. You want to know how we know that they lied? Is because when the GOP got their hands on the 40,000 hours in conjunction with Tucker Carlson revealed on his show that it had all the timestamps of where the Democrat Party looked through the 40,000 hours. And you know what the Democrat Party said? This is not, I'm not making this up. This is almost an exact quote. Well, it's our staffers' fault. These congressmen and women, these psychos, the ones that tell you how to live your life and think they're holier than thou, blamed it on their staffers for utilizing the same 6 minutes of footage and not releasing the 40,000 hours of the VIP tours that they were giving these people when they're walking around the Capitol going, oh yeah, that's some nice marbling. Do you guys wax those floors every Wednesday? Oh, is that Nancy Pelosi's office? That psycho? Like, they were just walking around just shooting the shit. Most of the time they're just having cigarettes going, yeah, we're smoking in the Capitol. Not a big deal. Most of it was nothing happening, but they didn't want that, right? Because there's a narrative. There's a narrative. And now what they're trying to do, the fact that we know the truth, they're the ones that are doing revisionist history. They're the ones that are lying. They're the ones that are spinning everything. We see through it. Nancy, is Nancy wearing a mask? You guys let me know. Is that really her face? There's no way in hell. You know, I have a bet out there that those dentures are going to fly out sooner or later. And I think it's going to happen here this coming election. Well, now we're getting to the story. Poll numbers are not looking good for Joe because Joey's slipping. Joey has been slipping for a long time, and not just physically up a flight of stairs and through a graduation ceremony or off his bicycle standing stationary. No, Joe Biden is drooling, slurring, mentally incompetent to run the country. Every metric out there says so, and so does the polling. And Democrats, you guys, you have to understand, realize that the media apparatus is doing everything they possibly can to not show how bad the Democrats are crapping their pants in the same way Joe Biden just did the other week. Democrats are losing it. So there's a statistician out there, Nate Silver, that it's more than fair to ask if Joe Biden should drop out amid all-time low approval ratings. I don't have words to describe that Democrats are losing their minds, and they, behind closed doors, are trying to figure out how they're going to get rid of this guy in the same way that the White House was trying to figure out behind closed doors how they were going to get rid of Karine Jean-Pierre. So Joe Biden falls into the lowest approval rating of his term 3 months out, 4 months out before the November 10th elections or something like that, somewhere around that time. Well, FiveThirtyEight founder Nate Silver floated Biden dropping out of the race. Now, there was rumors months ago that he was going to drop out around May. Well, now we hear June, July, maybe August, Joe Biden. The question is who's going to replace him, which we'll get to in just one moment. Biden's approval rating hit an all-time low. Look at these numbers. 37% approval rating. Now, my question is, who's the 37? You guys in the live chat again, I see all you. The Matrix is real. Good to see you, brother. Worse than Pearl Harbor, you're damn right. Look, it is bad. The question is, who's the 37% that's still voting for this guy? Folks, there's 350 million Americans. If you take in the illegals, probably 400 million. 37% still vote for this guy. You take that into account. You know how many millions of people are like, the guy's sharp, his head's on straight. I still can't believe it. So the 81-year-old president dropping out of the race is worth discussing, even if at this point would be a big risk for Democrats. But there's some threshold below which continuing to run is a bigger risk, he added. Are we there yet? I don't know, but it's more than fair to ask. If I told you 10 years ago a president would seek re-election at 81 despite a supermajority of Americans having concerns about his age, and then we'd hit 8% inflation for 2 years, hello, it hit 9.1, so even this guy's words are a little wonky. 9.1 inflation, I will never forget that. It's still up. I know I kind of go all over the place, but it's important to connect the lies to what's actually being stated here. No, yes, it was 8% for 2 years, but it was also 9.1%. That extra 1.1% is important. People are feeling it, and that's why Joe Biden should be out of office, because people feel it, but don't worry, he knows your kitchen table issues. This guy sat there and goes, when I came into we're coming back. When I came into office, inflation was 9%. No, Joe, when you came into office, it was 1.4%. And because your mismanagement of this country and the economy, well, that made it go to 9.1%. It's still up. It's like 3.4% or something right now. You'd be surprised if it even came close. So they're pushing this whole thing that Joe Biden's out. Now, the problem they have here, even though Joe Biden's approval rating down there is almost 38%, Kamala Harris is worse. They can't put Kamala Harris up. So what do? Here's the plan. They can't exactly just remove him. There's a lot of paperwork that's been filed already for this guy to run as president. So there's some legality issues. Here's what I think they're going to do. I think they're going to claim that the cognition level of this dude is gone, that Joe Biden is deranged. And that's going to be the big story, which I don't think Democrats can recover from. But I think they're going to play that this guy, there's something wrong with him. Now, remember, Joe Biden and stuff flew back to Delaware for their European trip recently. Did you guys know about that? Let me know in the live chat. Did you know that Joe Biden left Europe during this whole V-Day celebration thing, this memorial to, go off and celebrate those that, fight for this country and represent the great nation of America and all these other things, right? He flew back to Delaware. Did you guys know that? And then he's flying back to Europe. That's not how it works. You could probably count on one hand the amount of times that a president's done that in United States history. And that's me being generous. Joe Biden flew to Delaware. Why did Joe Biden fly to Delaware and then fly back to Europe? What's going on with Joe is the question. And Democrats, I think, know what's going on with Joe because we do. They just won't admit it. I'm telling you, folks, there's something going on with this guy. But I don't know who they're going to put up. Now, here's what I'm hearing behind closed doors. This is behind the podcast, everything like that. RFK. That is the rumor. That's Democrats are now floating that. We'll see. Before they went after the guy and, we don't like him, Democrats, blah, blah, blah. That's who they're going for is RFK. I know a lot of you don't mind RFK. Some of you do. Don't like him, but that's the only option. You think they're going to throw out Nancy? You think they're going to throw out you think they're going to chauffeur out Hillary? Remember when she was passed out? She had to be put into a van. She's like, ah. Yeah, no, they're not going to pull out Hillary anymore either. So they kind of rang that rag out a little bit. So, like I mentioned, they're going to drop Joey out. The election guru, again, 538 mentioned that. And down here's the polls. I mean, you guys, this is, I don't, we got a lot of new subscribers. I teach statistics, but look at this graph right here. Holy Lordy. Holy Lordy. Look at that. Look at that switcheroo. So Joe Biden was up in the 50s for quite some time. And for a long time, he's just been going downhill. For a very long time. I still want to know who that 37% is, don't you guys? Who the hell still is going to vote for Joe Biden? Like, your head has to be so far up your you-know-what that you haven't seen daylight since January 23rd, 2021. I mean, your head has to be so far up there, you know what I mean, that you still think COVID's happening. Here you go, Nate Silver, Trump should drop out. Drop out too. It's such a weird dunk on people who are pointing out that Biden has big challenges. Yes, Trump should drop out. I agree. Biden would lose by 7 points, but I agree the Republican Party and country would be better served by different nominees. No, they wouldn't. Trump is the greatest president in modern history. The guy sat there and ran this country better than a lot of presidents did. And I don't think the guy should drop out one damn bit. I'm voting for Trump in 2024. Who you guys voting for in the live chat, baby? We got 150 plus people in here. Are we all doing Trump 2024, baby? Are we on the Trump train? I'll tell you what. America's great, and Joe Biden, you raggedy old son of a bitch, you crooked Joe, running this country into the ground. Look at the news sites. Look at the media back there. The media doesn't want you to see this, folks. I'm voting for the outlawed Trump 2024, baby. We're going to make America great again. Are we not? Hell yeah. America great again, folks. Goddamn. So, Joe Biden. Goddamn, I love hanging out with Patriots. We get it. We get it as a community. You know what I mean? But there's Nate Silver. And you guys understand why I called that out? You see what he said? He wants Trump out, right? Do you understand why I called that out right here with that 8% inflation? And I called it out going, no. That's the number they want to use. We need to be using 9.1, not this 8%, because this is what they do. Just because Nate Silver is a recognized statistician and somebody that a lot of people follow in terms of data doesn't mean that he doesn't have a bias either. No, I'm not using that 8%. F that. We're using the 9.1% because that shows the damage of this president that's in office right now, who should have never been in office because the election was stolen. The election was rigged. And you know what's remarkable? Speaking of stolen elections, they're going to try to do it again. We covered that here. We went over the full plan already. For your new subscribers, Get your details in, baby, by watching the Ball Brad Show every single morning, 7 a.m., because we go over the details. They're going to try to rig this damn thing again. Remember what they did. They sat there and lied and said that the Hunter Biden laptop wasn't real. We know by polling data that would have swung people 17% of voters away from Joe Biden. Doesn't mean that they would have voted for Donald Trump, but they would have not voted for Joe Biden, meaning you would have Donald Trump sitting in office. That's election interference, in my opinion. Nobody goes to jail. That is sitting there stealing the election. Nobody goes to jail for that. But Donald Trump doesn't pay a parking ticket in New York on time. Grand jury, put the guy up, lock him up. Donald Trump did not pay the parking ticket on time, full-fledged jury trial. You have Hillary Clinton doing the exact same thing as Donald Trump did. Nothing happens to her. This whole place is screwed with Democrats running the show. That's why we need Donald Trump back in office. That's why we need Donald Trump elected the next president, 47 of this country, because the damage that Joe Biden has done, and he's going to fix it. Speaking of Joe Biden's damage, I told you it was going to happen. I told you they were going to do this. So even though this executive authority was put in place recently by Joe Biden, 1 million illegal immigrants could be given amnesty as Biden faces pressure from the left. This was his goal. He's not even hiding it. We showed the tweets. We showed the footage. We showed the data with the receipts that Joe Biden wants to give amnesty. Remember how he was sitting up there talking, saying, I want to give amnesty to everybody that even came prior to my administration and during my administration. And because he put in this executive authority, his own party's freaking out, and so is the left, where he's allegedly locking up the border. Remember how we covered that just the other week? That Joe Biden says that he's locking up the border when he's not. It's a bunch of BS. So Biden has hinted that more than liberal moves on immigration could be coming in the weeks ahead. And reports suggest that in response to left-wing pressure on the issue, he is considering a deportation shield, holy lordy, for hundreds of thousands of illegal immigrants already in the U.S. I told you he was going to do it. This guy's insane. He doesn't even know where the terrorists are. There's this show called the Sean Ryan Podcast, and there's an ex-CIA agent that's one of the top people for terrorism that sat there and handled that type of stuff in our intelligence community. She was just on his show like the other day saying, yeah, you know, there's insane terrorists that are pouring across our border right now that we actually know who they are and we know what they're plotting. Let that one sink in. Dude, this lady was going off on, well, yeah, no, this terrorist organization's doing that. This terrorist organization's doing this. And Sean's like, well, how do you like know this? Like, do you just think that they're going to do it? She goes, no, we don't think that they're going to do it. Like, we know the plan. We know what they're going to do. Joe Biden's allowing people to infiltrate our country to harm us, even though that goes against what he sat there and took an oath of office for to execute the laws in the books. He's not willing to do it, which I've always said Joe Biden should be tried, not just for treason, but Joe Biden should be removed from office just for his willingness to not uphold the Constitution and what he took an oath of office for. He sat there and lied. He's not willing to do it. It's a dereliction of duty. He should be out. And again, this is why a lot of Americans are turning away from Joe Biden, because he doesn't want to sit there and protect his people. He'd rather protect other people like illegal immigrants. He'd rather sit there and take care of other people and treat you like a second-class citizen in your own country. Yes, that is true. So again, he wants to give upwards of 1 million people amnesty. If he had it his way, you guys, he would give all 25 or 30 million people amnesty. President Joe Biden's administration is reportedly leaning towards a move that would unlock legal status and open up a pathway towards citizenship for hundreds of thousands of illegal aliens that the administration has allowed into this country. Now, here's some footage from Bill Milligan. Is it Milligan? Milliguigan? I don't know how to pronounce the man's name, but God, he's doing some great work at the southern border. So per CBP source, just under 1,300 illegal immigrants were apprehended by Border Patrol in San Diego sector alone. Okay, small little sector. We shot this video late afternoon where one Siegel Border Patrol agent was trying to corral 140 people. Look at this. Look at this. I will say this is the first time that I actually seen children in some footage in quite some time. But look at all the men. Like, there is not many women. I think I saw 2. Look at this guy. You know what? Kudos to this guy. Sitting out there, doing the Lord's work by himself. And just surprisingly, mostly military-age men. Weird. Really weird. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. But don't worry, they just want a better life, you guys. Just a better life. We don't know if these people are spies. We don't know what's going on. And what they're doing is they are taking them to a drop-off location and just busing them. But don't worry, everybody else has to sit in line. They have to wait. You know, these people are getting legal fees paid for. Oh, we're not done. Oh, I told you, buckle up, folks. We got a lot of footage to cover. So yesterday, or rather June 6th, it's not yesterday, Joe Biden's first day of actual executive order going in place, and people are still hopping the border. People are still sitting there being smuggled across into this country. Truly wild stuff. And speaking of people coming into this country, speaking of not sitting there taking care of your people, speaking of the chaos that's happening around the world, folks, you got some scary stuff going on here. Russian warships, their naval ships and nuclear-powered sub to visit Mexico, and they're going to be doing these war games in the Caribbean. I have footage. This is real. Russian warships are right basically off our coast. Now, there's rumors out there, and we'll get to it in one moment, that they're going to put U.S. troops in Ukraine. So buckle up, folks. This is some real, this is some World War III stuff, man. This is bad. This is really bad. So, as part of its historically friendly relations, a number of Russian naval ships, including a nuclear-powered submarine, will visit Cuba this week. The country's administration announced last week. Well, they're there. It's not like, oh, they're going. No. Here's the warships showing up. Just so I don't get copyrighted. I've been getting copyrighted left and right for just anonymous things. So several ships and support vessels are expected to participate in exercises and possibly make port calls in Venezuela and Cuba. Why are they doing this all of a sudden? Why are Russian ships showing off their military power just right there? Moscow might supply weapons to certain regions to enable strikes against sensitive Western targets if Ukraine repeatedly attacks Russia with Western arms. No. This is more than that, you guys. You could have possibly another Cuba Missile Crisis. Now, I didn't live through that time, but we got some viewers here that lived through the Cuba Missile Crisis. Not a great thing. So what's happening is NATO is potentially preparing for a ground war with Russia. Oh, no boots on the ground. Hey, we're not going to supply the military weapons that's going to hit Russian targets, except it did, and Putin's freaking pissed. I don't want to go to war personally. I'm 35. I'm still eligible to get into that bad boy. I don't want to go to war. I don't want to see our youth killed. NATO is mapping out land corridors to allow U.S. troops and other allied military forces to reach the front lines quicker in the event of a much larger European ground war with Russia. Is nobody bleeping their pants like Joe Biden right now? This is not a good thing. The announcement comes after multiple warnings from NATO leaders earlier this year that urged Western governments to prepare themselves for a war with Russia in the next 20 years. Now, when we started the show about 3 years ago, there was a lot of rumors that by 2025, China was going to invade Taiwan. And we leaked, we weren't the ones that leaked it, but we found leaked audio of Chinese officials talking about how they were going to invade Taiwan. We even went so in detail that we talked about the provinces in China that China's trying to build up, because if those provinces were to collapse and that was funneling supplies, then their invasion wouldn't be able to be fruitful. It wouldn't be able to be successful. So that's how far China's going. I mean, they are surrounding Taiwan, I think present time or within the last few months here, physically surrounding the island with their warships. You guys, there is so much going on. This is freaking bonkers. And it's partly to do with, one, yes, you have psychos like Putin and Xi Jinping in office, but you also have another psycho that's a doddering old fool named Joe Biden that's weaker than hell. And now these other countries know they can get away with this type of stuff. So I don't know what's going to happen here with our country if Joe Biden does stay in office and Donald Trump doesn't get elected, but it ain't going to be good, because Democrats suck at running things. Just yesterday, speaking of Democrats sucking at running things, remember how we covered that in the state of California, they're paying millions of dollars to give alcoholic homeless people alcohol? You guys remember that story? And we already knew that in the state of California, they're already giving drug addicts drugs. We got a lot of new viewers here, folks. We are growing exponentially. It's freaking awesome. But we got to repeat ourselves because a lot of people don't know about the psycho stuff that the Democrat Party's doing. So now what they're doing is now they're, God, it blows my mind. California is going to sit there and reimburse the federal government in upwards of $52 million for allegedly a paperwork miscommunication. And what do I mean by that? So we were told that illegal immigrants by all these lefties weren't getting health care. Oh, no, you're not paying for it. Oh, no, that's a Republican talking point. That's not real. Well, here's the receipts. And here's the thing. They were illegally doing it. The Democrats were illegally doing it and they got caught. And so now taxpayers in California have to shell out $52 million to the federal government in reimbursements. So the state of California recently agreed to repay more than $52 million. I like how we just throw out millions and billions like it's no big deal anymore. Remember in like the early 2000s, like being a millionaire was still a huge deal. You guys ever watch that show Survivor when Richard, the first Survivor winner, actually won the $1 million and everybody was floored like, holy shit, he's going to retire for the rest of his life. He's going to make it. A guy's a millionaire. It's amazing. That was 52 million. Oh, let's throw 10 billion to the Iranians. Here's 60 billion to Ukraine. Like it's no big deal. It's a lot of money. And what a federal inspector general determined was, here we go, improperly claimed Medicaid reimbursements for who? For who? What does that say? Non-citizens with unsatisfactory immigration statuses. What that means is illegals. They were giving Medicaid to illegals. But you have these nut jobs, these lefties going, they didn't give any Medicare. Where are you getting this from? You're just making it up. It's all conspiracy theory. So they got audited, and the audit concluded in late May that there was underlined that federal Medicaid benefits are usually limited to only citizens and qualified non-citizens. Examples of qualified non-citizens are refugees, people granted asylum, or those lawfully admitted to a permanent residence. Well, they were wrong, and they got caught for it. So what do we have to do? Because those illegal aliens already received those benefits, we have to sit there and use taxpayer dollars to send to the federal government to reimburse them. To reimburse them. Just more money out there. Remember how we talked about how Chicago's paying illegal immigrants $84,000 a year? All the while they're still getting food, 3-course meal, revolving menu that's catered to their country. They're getting legal services, law services, their education's paid for, their housing, they're getting rental assistance. All the while, our veterans are sleeping on the streets. Men and women that serve this country are sleeping on the streets. And Joe Biden would rather put up illegal immigrants into those areas. Joe Biden would rather sit there and give medical treatment to illegal aliens than taking care of our veterans. Dude, it drives me up a wall. I'm holding it together. For longtime Bald Brad Show viewers, I see the membership badges in there. We do have a membership option. 99 cents a month, you can support it. Look, 37% of the country is supporting Joe Biden, giving their money to him. At least, you know where your money's going, to a patriot here that has his head on straight, hopefully sometimes. But I'm doing good today. We're not doing a lot of rants. Right, Pat? We're not doing a lot of rants today. We're keeping it simple. We're keeping it simple like Joey. Joey drooling. Joey doo-doo his diaper. Joey has a little milk in his baba before he goes sleepy. So, CBP was shocked. CBP was shocked about the numbers regarding illegal immigrants that are registered voters. So, or voters that support illegal immigrants. So check this out. I totally butchered this, but we're still kind of waking up and I'm all out of coffee. Hey, hang in there, folks. So CBS News host Margaret Brennan, who's just sometimes off her rocker, am I right? I mean, this is basically View 2.0. You know, The View with Joy Behar. Almost said Joey Goldberg. I mean, it makes like Joey and Whoopi Goldberg, like Joy Behar and Whoopi Goldberg together for Joy Goldberg. I don't know where that came from. So it's not like Joe Biden, trigonometer pressure. There's a report that perplexed by results of recent poll that showed majority support for deporting of all illegal immigrants. She couldn't wrap her mind the fact that a lot of Americans support getting rid of people that shouldn't be in this country in the first place. So Oh, there's an ad. So why the ad's playing? I'll continue. So Homeland Security says that President Biden has already deported or basically put people through more people in the past year than any other year since 2010. And she's completely mind blown over it.
Deport all people living in the U.S. illegally. And that finds majority favor. That finds 6 in 10. It's strongest among folks who are MAGA. It's strongest among Trump supporters, but also from some Democrats as well. And I think that that speaks to the general idea, not just that people see the border as a crisis, but also where we are in the campaign, where a lot of very dramatic or, new proposals out there are finding favor here.
So unpack that a bit, because this 62% of Americans favor deporting all undocumented immigrants. So Homeland Security says that President Biden has already deported or repatriated more people in the past year than any year since 2010. And then, depending on the details of what's talked about on the campaign trail, some of what Mr. Trump talks about could be illegal. It doesn't seem practical in some sense to round up children. And then we know that the courts have questioned whether local authorities would have the ability to do it, and federal authorities don't have the resources. So what exactly do people think they're supporting?
Look at that boy here, Trump. What are you talking about, bitch? I got all the authority in the world. I got the United States military, the #1 military in the world, to deport all these people. So we talked about this. We went through the 3 steps that Donald Trump needs to do to deport 25 million people like he wants to do. He's going to have to utilize local law enforcement. He's going to have to use and expand CBP. He's going to have to expand ICE. In other words, he's going to have to expand the executive branch, which kind of goes against Republicans as well as conservatives thinking of limiting the scope of government. We kind of have to go outside our original values then and our own kind of ideology of expanding the executive branch and making government bigger to be able to pull off an operation like this, because it's never happened at this scale. Remember, Eisenhower was the last person to deport, I think it was like 1 million people or something like that. Nothing has happened on this scale, so he's going to have to utilize the United States military, the National Guard, but heavily rely on local law enforcement to apprehend these people. Now, I don't think Donald Trump is going to go door to door. I don't think the look of that is going to look good. And the reason why I say that is because he already knows what they're going to label him as, because they've been doing it, is, oh, you're a Nazi. This is the same thing the Nazi did to the Jews and all these other things. Well, so that's going to happen. There you got these media outlets that are going psycho. God, I love hanging out with you guys. I'm holding together with some of the stuff you guys are writing in the live chat. We had the best community. Look, we're not that big, but I'm telling you, we have the best community here. Look, how many live streamers do you know that knows all your guys' name in the live chat? How many guys out there? Look, I love Dan, I love Ben Shapiro, but they don't take the time to actually know the names and remember them. They're in their live chat. I know all of you. Pat, Jen's been a long time. Pat's kind of new. Pat's been here for many, many months. Pat's always writing in the live chat and the comment section. Dagger1, I've seen you before, brother. Cece, Michelle. I mean, Miriam's always here. Music Junkies there. Neil, Shib, Sweet Sunset. I mean, we know all these people because we're here all the time hanging out as damn patriots that love this country, baby. Woo! Now, with that being said, we got more. I told you, we're queued up, baby. We're here today. We're doing the live show. If we're going to do it live, we might as well do it right. Am I right? Is that all right? Well, something I've talked about here a lot on the show that I haven't been able to really capture myself, and I was able to get a little bit of a snippet early on, was regarding the homeless crisis that's happening in Los Angeles. And it's kind of even moved south to San Diego. I have video footage of this stuff. This is the best footage that I could get and find that correlates to how insane LA is. Because again, our viewership, not just is all around the United States, but it expands like United Kingdom. We got a lot of people from Australia that watch the show, and Canada. I have a video clip. I'll show it in one moment, but I want to talk about how insane this is. So I know you guys have probably seen video footage yourself, but I want to share kind of the experience that I've seen and connect it to the video footage that we'll see in one moment. What's mind-blowing here is, I hope you're sitting down. Is everybody sitting down for this? Because this is insane. Taxpayers are going to fund a new high-rise building in Los Angeles where homeless people will enjoy skyline views. They're going to get a cafe, a gym, an art studio, and not to mention the rent is absolutely free. So how are they going to do this? And who's going to pay for it? Well, you're going to pay for it. And the fancy new building is going to be 19 stories high and is going to have 278 units. These units, are you guys ready? They aren't big. These are like shipping container style units. We have covered this. Think of a shipping container. You know, like the things that are on the back of trucks, the freight. They're going to take basically the size of a shipping container and spend $600,000 on each unit. So think of a shipping container. They're going to revamp it into a place for homeless people to live rent-free, and it's going to cost them minimum. We all know when government gives you numbers, it's never that amount. It's always more. $600,000. Folks, some of us don't even live in houses that cost $600,000. You could buy like a 5,000 square foot property in Texas for $600,000. This whole thing's corrupt. So the whole thing, minimum is going to be $165 million. They get cafes. You know they're going to use this for illegal immigrants, right? You do understand that. Please realize that our veterans, some of you are vets in here. I saw the chat. I saw it. And look, we've had longtime viewers that Neil was a vet. Neil is a vet. I don't know why I said was. Like, we know who the vets are in here, baby. You got a lot of... There's a salute for you. Look, they're going to sit there and not allow our vets into these things, and they're going to put up illegal immigrants, you guys. Don't think that they're going to sit there and do all these things like, well, that's great. Like, the citizens are going to get to use it. No. We know the game plan here. And if this is boatloads of money. This is the same state that put in a high-speed rail system that was like, oh, it's going to cost like $6. And it's billions and billions of dollars over budget. They actually stopped it because Gavin Newsom's freaking corrupt. So this is going to be reportedly the biggest permanent supportive housing project in city's history. It's set to open this month. So just lovely. Look at this. Can we go over the specs of this? Because last time we did something like this, we actually got the video taken down. Except the difference was we weren't talking about homeless people. We were talking about illegal immigrants and the services that they were getting. And we showed footage of it and we got it removed. So the tower includes a gym. How many of you have a gym at your house? Well, these people are getting one. An art room, a soundproof music room, a computer room with a library, TV lounge, 6 common balconies, 4 of which have dog runs. If you're homeless and you can't support yourself, why do you have a dog? A courtyard, and a cafe that will host movie nights. And each apartment has its own TV as well. So who's going to be paying for all that? You are. Oh, yes, fine and dandy. So here's the footage. These are who, this is, folks, I'm not making fun of these people. I'm showing you what LA looks like. I've walked these same exact streets that you're seeing. Same exact streets. And let me preface something before we start it. This isn't even as bad as it is. I took my wife down here. I will never take her down there again because I don't know if I can actually physically protect her against some of these people. Here we go. This is in LA. This is in the touristy areas of LA. This is what LA looks like, you guys. It's not an exaggeration. Oh, come on. There we go. We'll go back to it. Thought my computer crashed on me for a second. Look, we got so many people in the live chat. We're crushing right now. All right, here we go. This is Hollywood Boulevard, by the way. Hollywood Boulevard, where people walk of fame. What you're seeing right here, this is in the most touristy of area in Hollywood Boulevard. So if you just keep going straight, probably, I want to say, I don't know, maybe 100 yards north of this is the Chinese Theater. You know where they have the celebrities come down? Folks, they host the Oscars right here. This street, this part is what they locked down during Oscars. There is no, this is just one guy passed out. What you don't see is there's a whole cubby area to the right where homeless people are doing fentanyl, drugs, drinking, have their freaking wee-wees out in front of youth. This is wild. And this isn't even bad. I've seen it way worse than this. The floors actually look clean. These people are going to live nicer than some Americans. They're going to get laundry services. They're going to get a cafe, TVs, bedding, $600,000 apartment, rent-free. I need to explain something. One thing you don't get through this footage is the amount of homeless people that are around these other homeless people. You don't see them assaulting citizens. There's been people on Hollywood Boulevard that have been pulled out of their cars and gotten their asses kicked. Just like you saw that homeless person standing on that guy's car. Can you imagine that being your car and somebody just running up and standing on it, smashing in your window? You guys, there's been homeless people, this is going to sound like I'm making this up, that have taken and shit inside a coffee can and thrown hot diarrhea at people. They've sat there and assaulted citizens, tourists. This is the most touristy area. Can you imagine what the untouristy areas look like? It's terrible. Oh, it's absolutely terrible. And Democrats love it. Democrats want to continue to ride the state into the ground. Look at this. Prop 47. Prop 47 allows you to steal upwards amount of like $950 worth of merchandise and basically nothing happens to you. And that's why you have all these smash and grabs happening in California, which is carving out inner cities or carving out cities themselves like San Francisco and Sacramento, where entire malls are closing down and fleeing the city like we saw from CVS, Rite Aid, Walgreens, Nordstrom, In-N-Out in Oakland. A lot of these places are getting out because of the crime. And you would think, oh, well, Democrats want less crime, right? And Brad always comes on here and goes, well, they love the crime because they keep voting for it. Democrats love it. So you would think going, well, if Prop 47 is enabling and incentivizing this behavior, well, why don't they just remove it? Great question. Great question. That's been my question. Why is it still here? Well, they're trying to remove it present time because people woke their asses up. And what are Democrats doing? What are Democrats doing? Well, let me tell you, they're playing dirty tricks again. In a response to bipartisan efforts to place a measure to reform Prop 47 to fix this whole issue on November ballot in favor of other public safety bills. So what California Governor Gavin Newsom is doing and some elected Democrats, well, they don't support this effort. They love the crime and are pushing some public safety bills circulating through the state capitol that attempt to address organized retail theft, car break-ins, and other crimes. They prefer those bills go before voters instead of Prop 47. They don't have your interest out there. They want to cripple this country, and at a state level, they are doing it. Every Democrat-ran city is rough. Every Democrat-ran city has rising crime. Every Democrat-ran city is going down the pooper. And I want to finish off with this. We're not going to go super into detail because we are over time, but I do want to mention the fact that Joe Biden had talked about how Democrats are sitting there uplifting your rights. They want more freedom and liberties for you, right? And Republicans like Donald Trump want to take away your freedoms. They want to take away your laws. They want to take away your liberties. What the hell am I saying? And we saw this, right? We saw this with Jill Biden, Joe Biden's wife, on The View saying, Donald Trump's going to remove your liberties. He's going to remove your freedoms. He's going to remove your rights. Well, weird, because we know that Joe Biden wanted to put forth a ministry of truth that wanted to limit your First Amendment rights, meaning your freedom of speech. It's Democrats that don't want you to have free speech, right? I mean, it's the Democrat Party in conjunction with the mainstream media that silenced conservatives. They silenced us about the Hunter Biden laptop. They silenced us about talking about COVID-19. We can't even say a man is a man and a woman is a woman anymore with fear of being silenced. Well, I told you they're going to go after your guns, and we have it right here. So here's another one. Here's another one. Even though I'm going to be fair, Joe Biden came out and said, hey, we want to remove all semi-automatic rifles and weapons. That's everything, right? Because he always says, oh, it's assault weapons, man. No kidding. It's assault weapons. What the hell is an assault weapon? That doesn't exist. You just made up this term.
So Biden is poised to lose his job, right? Because Democrats are going to replace this guy like we talked about at the beginning of the show. Americans are already frustrated with wide open borders, crime-infested streets, and unaffordable gas, groceries, and rent. Now his administration has quietly, more secrets being revealed and exposed, launched a new war on gun owners and the lawful gun industry before his executive authority is stripped away. This dude is going after your rights. And like I mentioned, I don't think guns are going to evaporate overnight. It's not possible. There's more guns in America than there are actual people. But here's the thing. They're going to chisel away at those rights, the First Amendment and the Second Amendment, until at some point in human history, United States history, I hope it doesn't happen in my lifetime, we just don't have the rights anymore, or the right has been diminished so much that we can't actually utilize it in a way to protect the rights that already pre-existed it. In an all too typical example, an executive overreach, a new interim final rule from the Biden's Department of Commerce will vindictively smother American gun companies with layers of bureaucratic red tape and prevent citizens in other countries from lawfully purchasing American firearms and ammunition. This is not only a clear admission of the Biden administration's disdain for lawful gun owners, but also a backdoor attempt to villainize and bankrupt domestic manufacturers while pushing the president's globalist agenda beyond our own borders. So they're going to do this. They're going to sit there and strip the rights of many people to be able to get a gun and actually utilize it. And what they're doing is utilizing the ATF's engaged in business rule reclassifies gun owners, check this out, who occasionally sell a firearm as professional dealers, subjecting them to a web of complicated and burdensome regulations with no proven benefits. This rule unconstitutionally expands the agency's control over ordinary gun owners while also taking another step towards the de facto creation of a national gun owner registry, which is a bad deal. I don't want the government knowing I got guns. I don't even want the government to know jack shit about me. But that's where we're at in terms of this country, in terms of having, this blows my mind. I never thought in my lifetime that I'd actually have a president that says that they want to sit there and strip your guns away. I never thought in my lifetime I would have an elected official that's supposed to uphold my rights in the Constitution saying, I want to sit there and diminish and remove your rights. I never thought I'd have that in my lifetime in this country, but leave it up to the Democrat Party to elect a leader. I'm putting elect in air quotes because we all know what happened during the last election. Elect a leader that actually wants to do that. They're tearing this country apart, and that's why we wrote a damn book on it. Trojan Horse, How the Left is Destroying America, folks. Get yourself a copy. Barnes & Noble. Amazon has a good deal right now, and if you're in Southern California, please head down to Seal Beach. Main Street, Seal Beach. There is a store down there ran by two patriots. One of them is a veteran. His name's Frank. And his lady Jen. They're absolutely amazing patriots. They got a lot of Trump 2024 gear. They do have an online store, folks. It's called Beachin Seal Beach. Beachin Seal Beach. You can purchase stuff from them online, folks. They are going viral, and rightfully so. We always talk a big game about supporting small businesses. And that video of ours that we did Sunday is going bonkers. It's possibly going to be our best video that we've ever done here on the show. And I'm not, no joking, like Joe Biden says, no joking, pal. Support them, guys. They are, like I said, they serve this country. They're great people. They're loving. And they couldn't have been more kind to me. And they were willing to put my book up in their store. I was really blessed on that day. Really, that made my day. And it made my day to meet people like that love this country and are willing to go above and beyond and actually put Trump out in their storefront, folks, amidst all these liberals coming in and getting triggered. Couldn't have been happy enough to meet them and hopefully make new friends with them because they are truly American patriots, and as well are all of you. Hit that like and subscribe button. Leave us a comment down below. Anything else? We got a membership. You watching all the way through, checking out our videos. That is enough, folks. We are done for today. And folks, I will see you back here tomorrow on the Bull Brad Show.